It's the left versus the right. In the right corner, Dominic Carter. In the left corner, it's Anthony Weiner. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, it's a 77 WABC debate. The melee in the metropolis.
So welcome to another episode of Left versus Right. Anthony Weiner on your left, Dominic Carter on your right. Dominic, no video this week. The whole crew is getting ready to go out to the Republican convention. You're going. You're going to be broadcasting from there,
yes,
right?
Yes, the crew is already there. The technicians, the producers, the executive producers, they're all set and ready to go.
So finally, we can stop talking about Joe Biden for a week. Wouldn't that be nice?
How are you? Hey, wait a minute. So I saw you in the paper the other day. Your class act, wishing your ex success.
Yeah, she traded up.
It happens to all of us.
Yes, it does.
It happens to all of us.
But all right, so Joe Biden, I would love for us not to have as much talk about this week. He kind of had an up and down week. Do you think he had any good moments? Do you think it's just been a train wreck the entire week?
I think it's been a complete train wreck. Perhaps he did a decent job handling NATO, the conference in Washington this past week, but everything surrounding it ended up being an absolute nightmare. We have a situation now, Anthony, where Biden pro-pacs are threatening to withhold $90 million in pledged donations. It's over.
You think it's over?
Now going to get ugly.
So be honest about it. You're praying and hoping that Biden stays in, right? You'd rather run against Biden. You must be running a little bit scared about Kamala Harris.
I'll first of all, either one of them, they're the Walking Dead. But as the race goes on, either one, I can't think. This is why a few weeks ago. And I want you to have your say here. A few weeks ago, you asked me which Democrat, basically, do I fear?
Right.
Gavin Newsom is a complete joke, pretty boy from California. Kamala Harris and her laugh, she will do worse than Biden, even though polling shows her 2 points behind. And President Biden, it's over.
I don't know, man. So here it is. After that debate, if someone would have told you it became 60-40 Trump, you would have said, yeah, that's about right. That was such a terrible debate for Joe Biden. And here we are, just yesterday on Friday, another poll comes out that shows Joe Biden winning. Now, I have said the polls are going to be 45-45.
Which poll? Because I'm not familiar.
This is the NPR poll came out on Friday. It showed 50 to 48 for Joe Biden.
Wow,
it shows,
a poll from NPR. Surprising that shows Biden winning.
I mean, Fox News has been one of the most pro-Biden pollsters out there recently. Look, the polls have not... Look, you got to admit, a Washington Post poll came out that showed Kamala Harris. You referred to it, Kamala Harris beating Trump. But in that same poll, it showed Donald Trump.
No, I didn't say her beating Trump. I said she loses to Trump by 2%.
I thought in the Washington Post poll she won, but Biden lost by 2%. But okay, but the point is, this is not a blowout, despite the fact that Joe Biden had such a brutal debate. How come it seems like no matter how badly things go for Joe Biden, people stood for Donald Trump?
Well, that's a myth, and it does not reflect reality. If Mr. Biden stays in the race, because if that were reality, Nancy Obama would not be talking to each other privately. Correct. If it were reality, Hakeem Jeffries would come out publicly and state that Democrats are with President Biden. Jeffries between a rock and a hard place, because he probably wants to stick with Biden, but his members are stating that they want something else.
Well, look, I will concede this. That if both parties had to just pick a candidate 2 years ago, probably neither one of them would have gone with the ones that they have, because they're both really damaged candidates. But it's just, I'll stick with Joe Biden. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of people who don't believe that he's the strongest candidate we have. He is the one that got chosen. And here it is. He's going to say, Dominic Carter, voters of the country, Democrats, you say I'm doing so badly, but still I'm hanging around in the polls. The only problem is he's hanging around, but he's not winning. He's basically on that edge that it's just too close to call.
But the gap is only going to grow, and I disagree. You said that they're both damaged candidates. You know that I don't believe that. You know that I believe that Trump is not damaged. You know that the term convicted felon, in all likelihood, that's not going to apply to him much longer because the paperwork has already been submitted for the conviction to be overturned on the issue of presidential immunity, which the Supreme Court sided with Trump. And Trump is not a flawed candidate. I just see it very differently.
I mean, so Maris poll came out on Friday, shows Harris beating Trump by 1 and showing people overwhelmingly saying that they care more about truthfulness than they care about age. About 38% said we care more about age. Almost 60% say they care about truthfulness. So you're going off to Milwaukee. What do you think Donald Trump has to accomplish when he's there? I guess he's got to explain what he wants to do with the country in a second term.
Well, I am literally leaving for Milwaukee the moment that we are done with this show. And you're citing polls, but there's the one that shows that 24% of the American people, only 24% believe that President Biden has the mental capabilities to serve. What Trump needs to accomplish is just to be Trump at this point. The base is excited. The base is ready to move away from the Democrats. Trump will announce any moment now his running mate. There will be a traditional bump based on you.
Who's that going to be?
Polling. I don't know. I'm hoping that it's amongst the names that are out there. I'm hoping that it's Rubio because I really believe that if he puts a minority on the ticket, it's going to help his campaign. It's really going to boost his campaign.
Marco Rubio he's a minority.
Well,
I tell you, I'm more Hispanic than that guy.
Really?
I'm just saying. Come on, Marco Rubio. But here's what just about all. You know what these three guys? Well, if you take the guy from Ohio, J.D. Vance, you take Rubio. Those two guys have so many quotes that they have made about how unfit to lead Donald Trump is. We're going to be playing those nonstop on the middle on my show.
Well, okay, fair enough. And by the way, you had a great show today. You. But no matter who he goes with, it's only going up from here in terms of his numbers.
What did they haven't before? He has never broken anything. He is at the same base that he has. You know, the one thing we've learned about all the up and down with is Biden going to run? Is he not going to run? I tell you, the polls are remarkably stable. They haven't really moved in over a year. He got a little bit of a bump when he was convicted. That's kind of come back down now. If you think that, and I want to tell you something, and you think the American people who turn on the broadcast from Milwaukee and hear that Donald Trump wants to do the largest mass deportation in American history, you think that earns some votes?
Absolutely. That's the will of the American people. You see, here we go, Anthony. The Democratic Party, at what point will you guys get, and not you necessarily, I'll keep it to the party.
Thank you.
Will Democrats get real? Do you not understand that this issue of the border, based on polling and migrants, is greatly hurting the Democratic Party?
How are you going to do it?
It doesn't matter.
I think it matters to the American people. How are you going to round up all those people? How are you going to do it?
See,
are you going to do it with a big government solution, like giving a lot of people, like hiring a whole bunch of cops to wander the streets asking people for their papers?
What's wrong with that?
That's Nazi Germany in 1933. But besides that, nothing else.
Okay, well,
how are you going to do it?
That's what Democrats say. That's one of the options.
He says he's going to use the National Guard in all 50 states to do it.
And what's wrong with that?
I'll tell you, because the National Guard has no training in doing civil law enforcement. So we going to train them all?
Well, I think that within a matter of a week, the National Guard could be trained and they could be used. What I'm trying to say to you, Anthony, is no matter what method Trump goes at this, the American people are sick and tired and they want to see migrants gone. Democrats are focusing and locking in on the minutia and civil rights.
You mean the undocumented people who aren't supposed to be here. You don't mean migrants, do you? I mean, there are a lot of people here. Like my forefathers were migrants. Your forefathers were migrants.
No, that's not what I'm referring. Okay, so if you want to break it down like that, then the undocumented that have come into the country illegally.
Okay, so people have been here. They came here illegally, say 25, 30 years ago. They run a store now. They run a construction company. They've been have a false Social Security number that entire time. What are we going to deport them? These people who are employing.
I'm referring to people that have come in the country in the last 2 to 3 years. Using a scheme or a gimmick to get here.
Got it. So 5 years ago, you get to stay.
Well,
and we're going to leave the National Guard to conduct these interviews on the street to figure this all out.
Well, I don't know. You're pointing.
That's right, Dominic.
You're pointing to an extreme situation.
No. He says the largest mass deportation in American history, and you just said that's a great idea.
What's wrong with that?
I'm explaining it right now, and I'm asking you, how are you going to do it?
Okay, it doesn't matter.
You're saying it doesn't matter. Being president means coming up with ideas to how you're going to run the country.
Fine, but what I am telling you is that when Trump says America first, Americans want this done. Americans want to be first again, and not some damn migrants.
Okay, I understand.
Bottom line,
fine. But when you what we saw at that press conference that Joe Biden gave about NATO on Thursday night, he spoke with alacrity. He spoke with understanding. He wrote with nuance about the different things going on in the world. He talked about Japan and South Korea. You saw that debate. Hey, I got to tell you, he was talking about Japan and South Korea's history that I didn't even know.
Wait, the Thursday night news conference,
right?
You said he spoke with fact and
yeah, when he was talking about this isn't Golda Meir's Israel, and when he talked about Japan and South Korea.
Okay,
so the point
but how do you focus on that part and ignore the big part that's making the news?
The big part is not the big part. The big part is he made a gaffe about someone's name.
Okay.
I mean, that's
not true.
Well, let me ask you, Dominic.
That's not true. Did he make one gaffe? No. Two.
What was the other one?
Two big ones. You can't call Zelensky to his face.
I was talking Thursday night. Yes, he did that earlier. Okay. He got people's names wrong.
Okay, but you can't call Zelensky to his face Putin when Zelensky is in a war against Putin.
Yeah, I understand. But
so
what's more important to you?
We can't just gloss over that.
Why not? Why is that so important?
Because that's convenient for what you want.
I know, but
when I say you, I mean Democrats.
No, I understand. You can say me too. But Dominic, what's more important to you as an American? Someone who's really got a good handle on the substance, or someone who gets everyone's name right?
I think that if we have a president that cannot refer to a world leader as his name in person, that's a major problem. And
so when Donald Trump does it, when Donald Trump calls Nancy Pelosi Nikki Haley, Nancy Pelosi, you think he shouldn't be president?
Key word I just said is world leader, and two, he did not do it to their face.
The difference with that
that doesn't count.
Of course it doesn't matter.
Count.
The thing that I care about, let me ask you something.
And, what about calling Kamala Harris Trump? I mean,
that was a gaffe. Well, it was a gaffe. It was a gaffe. It was a mistake. Yeah,
but it's not.
But then he went on to give a 2-hour press conference where he talked about sophisticated things in foreign policy. Could Donald Trump do that for 5 minutes?
So we should ignore the president of the United States answering the first question.
You should contextualize
about whether or not he's going to make it as a candidate, and is Kamala Harris qualified to be president? And he refers to her as Trump. I'm
saying don't ignore it. I'm saying put it in context. I'm saying what's more important to you, someone who gets the names right or someone who gets the issues right?
You already know what's important.
Yeah.
The gaffes that he made.
No, that's not more important. Let me ask you something.
Oh, boy.
When Joe Biden was hosting NATO, the world leaders, where was Viktor Orban?
I don't know.
He was down in Mar-a-Lago meeting with Donald Trump. Why is Donald Trump meeting with the dictator of Hungary that is cracking down on rights of LGBTQ people, will not surrender his seat even though he's been in for 16 years, is basically an authoritarian? Why does Donald Trump, rather, I almost made a gaffe, why does Donald Trump like authoritarians, not people who are standing up for democracy?
Well, the last time I checked, Trump meets with many leaders, and unlike Democrats, here's the difference in what I'll point out, right? If Trump does something that I don't agree with, I will say it.
So say it here.
I don't.
So he shouldn't have done that, right? That was a bad look.
That's not what I'm going to say, because I don't know all the particulars of what was discussed in private. So I'm not going to say.
He shouldn't be meeting with. He shouldn't. Why does an authoritarian dictator want to meet with Trump? Why do you think that is?
I think that every world leader wants to meet with Trump because they know that he's returning to office.
No. He was, by the way, Orban is in NATO, but there wasn't a single other NATO leader that wanted to meet with Donald Trump. Why is that, you think?
I don't know.
Because he's not respected, is he?
But I'd rather focus on the gaffes that the current president made. I noticed that you're not focusing on that at all.
Good, let's focus on the gaffes. Go ahead. Okay. Let's say whatever you want about gaffes, and then we'll move on to the substance.
Okay, well, just explain to me because I really believe it's elder abuse. What type of president?
You want to do gaffes? I can do Donald Trump gaffes. Go ahead. You start.
Okay.
If you think gaffes are all that important, both guys are too old. Both guys forget stuff. But one guy knows the substance backwards and forwards, and the one guy has had good results, and the other guy doesn't.
I'm not going to argue with you this week. I've got to catch a plane to. Seriously, I got to catch a plane.
This is a rare opportunity for me. Then I should take advantage of it. Where was this Dominic Carter when Trump was meeting with Kanye West or whatever it was?
But no, seriously, I'm not going to argue with you. I've got to catch a flight to. All
right, here's something we can agree on.
No. I don't want to gloss over this.
Oh, I thought
right?
you did.
So when the president of the United States refers to his vice president several times as President Kamala Harris, you're not worried about where he is mentally?
Totally am.
There's an honest. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you.
I totally am.
Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you.
Look, Joe Biden is too old. Donald Trump is too old.
See, you were doing good, but you immediately
but we have an election between two guys. Both guys have the old problem.
But right.
But I want the guy who's good on substance at the end of the day.
But when you ask me, well, is he good on substance or is the people around him good on substance?
He did his own press conference, man, and sounded really good. And your guy cannot hold it together before he talks about windmills killing people and all this other crazy stuff. Let me ask you an honest question. That press conference, that NATO press conference, and last time we had a NATO press conference and Donald Trump was at, you know what he said? He says, I believe Putin more than I believe my own security people. That's the side that your guy is on.
Okay, at least he was honest.
You are not that person who supports Putin over America, are you?
I'm not.
Of course you're not.
But at least
and
Trump
neither
was
are the
honest.
American people.
But at least Trump was honest.
He was honest and treasonous.
That's what you
He's
said.
not eligible. Of course, I'm talking right now. Yes, Donald Trump, the reason the American people don't trust that guy is because Donald Trump is an authoritarian who thinks about himself. Joe Biden is someone who showed in that press conference.
This is what Democrats do. You say, let's talk about Biden. You find a quick way.
It's an election. We're going to talk about two guys.
Okay, but you know what?
Everything is a contrast in an election.
But it would be a better conversation.
It's not Joe.
If you could stick to Biden.
It's not Biden versus Biden. It's Biden versus.
And then we could focus on Trump.
Can I ask you a question?
With Democrats, yes, sir.
Dominic, we are, between now and the election, left versus right. You can't be versus something and only talk about one side. You make a contrast. Joe Biden is not running against me. Joe Biden is not running against you. He's not running against anyone else. He's running against a choice that American people are going to have to make. And all the listeners to left versus right have to choose between these two guys. So if one guy supports authoritarian, one guy supports Zelensky, if one guy has good policies and one guy has bad policies, you cannot listen to the show and expect me to only talk about one guy's positions.
Right. Of course not, because Democrats don't want to be honest in assessing Mr. Biden, period.
Okay. Here's an honest statement. Joe Biden had a lousy debate, and he's too old to be president. Can you make an honest assessment about Donald Trump?
Absolutely. Donald Trump is headed back to the White House. He's going to rebuild America. He is great for this country.
All right. No, I don't know. I'll let you get away with it because we're going to a break. We'll be right back on Left versus Right. Anthony Weiner and Dominic Carter. We'll see you on the other side.
It's the left versus the right. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, it's a 77 WABC debate. The melee in the metropolis. 77 WABC.
So welcome back to Left versus Right. If you miss any part of the program, you can get it as you can get a podcast version of Dominic Carter's show at 3 o'clock. He'll be reporting live, as he said, from Milwaukee. Also, the Midnight Show, available anywhere that you get podcasts. Before we move off this week in Biden and took a little...
Wait, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I just listened to you, and you're reasoned, and you make reasonable arguments, and that's what you just did for the last hour. And then when you get here with me, It's Democrat on steroids.
Okay. I have something to confess to you.
Okay.
The show I do at 3:00 is called The Middle. I'm trying to be more down the road. My thing is the facts, neither left nor right, doing the middle. Here, it says right on the awning that we are going to be left versus right. I mean, if I start doing left, if I start doing right, are you going to start doing left? Of course not. We are who we are, man. We're two authentic New Yorkers.
No, you're right. We are authentic New Yorkers. But if you start doing right, I'm going to say, thank the Lord, and Trump is going back to the White House.
Well, here's what I think then. Let's try to find an issue every week we can agree on. I think I found it. I don't want to curse this week because we got in trouble for that last week. What the hell is George Clooney thinking? Who gives a rat's ass what George Clooney has to say? Because, he wrote an op-ed this week calling on the president to drop out and let someone else. These freaking Hollywood guys, why do they think we give a rat's butt what they think? I mean, honestly. He wasn't even my favorite. He wasn't even my favorite Ocean 11 guy.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I am. I'm like George Clooney.
So wait a minute. Yeah. Why didn't you Democrats say that when he was raising $30 million for you, for Biden?
Because people raise money all the time, and then their job is to raise money for the good candidates, and then shut the F up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You don't go out and say like. And by the way, George Clooney's like, here's the problem. I am not one of these people who says shut up and play or shut up and whatever it is. Public figures can have their political opinions, but we have a right to say we don't care what you think. I mean, honestly, Kanye West wants to say.
It's funny you didn't say this when the actor came down to Trump's trial and called for him to be convicted and said all those horrible things about him.
No, I think I look. Here's my general view. My general view is that famous people can use their platforms however they want. But suddenly to believe that George Clooney writing an op-ed in the New York Times, we're all trying to figure out the same thing there, George. You're no greater. Now, he said, well, I was with him and I saw how badly he was doing. And by the way.
And not the same person of the past.
And by the way, you and I saw that debate. We don't need someone else to tell us that Joe Biden is not doing great. We already knew that. There was no new information there. I'm just saying, George Clooney, be quiet. And the New York Times, splash. I got an alert on my phone. George Clooney says, I'm like, George Clooney, the General Hospital. What was that? What hospital show was he on?
I forgot the name. Yeah,
the one that he started on and became
right.
I'm like, that guy, the Ocean's 11 guy, I'm supposed to give a crap what he has to say about things?
Oh, how convenient Democrats forget. How about, do you want to focus on the part that Obama had advanced knowledge of this op-ed? You want to focus on that part?
Well, yeah, go ahead. What's the problem with that?
Oh, you don't see a problem with that? The man that was the president of the United States that made Biden his number 2, that made the platform.
What was he supposed to do about it? Say don't run it? If someone thinks something, that's not the way Democrats roll. Democrats, we air our dirty laundry. But I mean, so if I ever came to you and I said, listen, I'm thinking about writing an op-ed saying pick a name that Eric Adams shouldn't run, and you're my friend,
right?
And you get blamed if I go do it just because I told you first? No, I mean, people run things by people all the time. Talk about a made-up issue.
So Obama shouldn't have talked them out of it.
According to Obama, he says, I disagree with you, but do what you got to do. Obama doesn't control. I don't understand this whole idea. By the way, there's nothing. Part of my point here is there's nothing George Clooney said that was unique. Saying that Joe Biden has lost something off his curveball, saying that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. These are things that Americans know, and that's why they're choosing Joe Biden. They're not choosing him by a lot, and we could do much better. But I have to tell you, this table would get 40% on if it ran against Donald Trump.
That's nothing to be proud of, to state that.
I agree. The American people are locked in their lanes, man. Right? We are talking to 10%, and that's why you're going to Wisconsin, because a lot of those people, some of those people are in Wisconsin. And let's see if they believe they want thousands of cops on their street interviewing people to see if they should be thrown out of the country or not. Like Big Brother, if they believe that the Republican Party...
So what's the answer to the migrant problem instead?
Changing the laws, man. You've got to change the laws. You've got to divide people into the different groups. One, you've got to say people have been here for a long time, that have been playing by the rules, that even if they came on here and they're undocumented, they get to the end of the line, they pay a fine, they show they're paying their taxes, they show they know English, you give them a path to citizenship, not in front of anyone, but behind them. Second, you say to the employers, if you hire anyone that doesn't have authentic identification, that you get punished also, just like everyone else. So we stop the economic thing. Third, we come up with a real program. We say, what kind of jobs do we need filled here? If we need people to pick almonds, we get that. If we need computer programmers, we get that. And then 4, we bolster the border, but with new judges, new cops, new machinery, and everything else, so we can weed out the bad guys, and we fix the part of the law that says people can come here whenever they want. As soon as they set foot on here, they get to declare asylum. A lot of that was part of the compromise the Republicans and Democrats worked out, and Donald Trump killed.
So wait a minute.
You're welcome, America. I just solved the problem.
I didn't hear the part of your answer of what to do with these migrants that are here recently, and the ones that are committed horrendous crimes. What do you do with that whole batch?
No, the first part separates the wheat from the chaff. Right now, we're going through 12 million people when we're not looking for 12 million. We don't have 12 million bad people here. A lot of the migrants that you and I deal with, a lot of the undocumented people we deal with, are part of the American society. The problem is we can't ever catch. Hold on, let me just finish my thought. We can't ever catch them because the bad guys are folded in with such a huge number. We'll never find them. Once we start to separate out who's supposed to be here, give them some kind of credential that they can say, I'm supposed to be here, cop.
So do we continue to pay for them like we're doing now?
No,
even
actually,
the good ones.
Immigration is good for our economy, man. You look at how many people out here that are running companies that came here undocumented and are now sustained. Our newspaper guy on our corner here is paying his taxes and he's never going to see any benefits.
So the people in the hotels right now receiving food, medical care, housing, they're not paying their own way.
I want to tell you something. I think that part of you're right. At the very beginning, some people are a cost. But overwhelmingly, these people are going, why do you think our unemployment is so low? Right? Why do you think the economy is doing so well right now? It's because
the economy is not doing well, and you know it's not doing well. But that's a Democratic talking.
The head of the Fed just testified. We just found out this week. The head of the Fed. We found out this week. We found out this week that inflation was basically 0 for the last year. It's down to 3%, which is the Fed target.
Well, it is an election year, and 2, ask any American. Ask any American whether you really believe those numbers.
I know. Here's the thing: every week you say another number that you don't agree with. Don't we live in a society that we can agree on anything, so we can have conversation about what's working and what's not? You say there are 1 million people coming in here undocumented. If we don't agree that what the Border Patrol is telling us, and we just say, "Well, I don't believe the numbers. I think there are 5," we're never going to solve any problem. The same people that tell us the inflation numbers have been telling us the inflation numbers since the 1920s, and we never argue about it. We just say, let's fix our policies.
Okay.
You quote the inflation numbers when they're high, but you say they're lies when they're low?
But Democrats turn around and say Biden had a good news conference, knowing damn well that he did not.
Some things are subjective. I'm saying facts about whether...
No, that's not subjective. Wait. With a straight face, Democrats and you are going to tell me that he had a good news conference?
Before we change the number before we change the conversation away from the numbers, there are things that are facts and some serious opinions. When the Bureau of Labor Statistics comes out with a number and you say you don't believe it.
So when you give me stats in the middle of an election year that's from the Biden administration or associated with the Biden administration and it makes your president look good, I'm supposed to believe them.
So in that case, what you're saying is you don't believe the same agencies that there's the same calculations for generations they've been doing it and we've been agreeing on it. Now you say disagree.
That's not what I'm stating. What I'm stating is that I take it with a grain of salt. That's what I'm saying.
So did the Donald Trump administration lie in his election year?
I can't think
of
I
never accused them of lying in their election year. I never accused them. You know why? Because their Bureau of Labor Statistics has been doing the same thing forever. We trust. It's so funny. You trust yourself to do a good radio show, but you don't trust someone whose job it is to come up every year with what's really going on in the economy to do it. They're all corrupt. The jurors are all corrupt. Everyone's corrupt except you, Dominic.
So why did it take an election year for President Biden to do anything at the border?
It's been coming down.
It took him. He did not. First of all, his moves
it's
are
Congress's
copying
job.
Trump. It's his moves are copying Trump's.
That got struck down by the courts.
Okay, but he's still copying Trump.
That got struck down by the courts. He's doing something that's illegal right now.
Okay, but he's still copying Trump. Is he or is he not?
He is doing something illegal that Donald Trump...
Is he or is he not?
I'm answering your question.
Okay, go ahead.
He's doing something illegal that Donald Trump also did that got struck down for being illegal.
Okay, so who did it first?
Donald Trump did the illegal thing first.
Okay, so that means that Biden is copying Trump.
He is doing the same illegal things that Donald Trump did, yes. By the way, if you want a leading edge of illegality, Donald Trump is always the guy to look at. But the point is, this is Congress's job. Congress's job is to change the laws. They refuse to do it, and now this is going to get struck down. But you're forgetting something. It's working, right?
What Biden's election year gimmicks?
The number. Hey,
I know
Biden,
you're not going to say Biden's attempt at closing the
hold on a
border.
second.
I know you're not going to say that's working.
It's worked.
No, it
you don't believe those
worked.
numbers either?
The migrants are still coming in at record numbers.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
It's basically you missed out.
Just like I'll give you a point from last week.
They aren't coming in.
You gave me a hard time saying, "Oh, why isn't Trump's approval rating at 50%?"
Yeah.
And then I said,
He's not an incumbent. You said
I tried not to take the bait. Knowing that Biden's is at 37, I told you Biden's at 37. You said, "Oh no, that's not true." His approval rating is at 37%. President Biden.
Their approval rating. Both guys are disliked in America.
Okay, wait a minute. If
both
Trump,
guys are disliked, is that a newsflash to you?
Wait. If Trump's is close to 50 and Biden, let me just finish.
Vote share and approval rating are not the same. Dominic.
No, of course
Don't mix
not.
them up.
Okay, but listen. If his numbers are much higher approval rating
They're not.
than Biden's, so you're telling me
They're basically
Trump,
the same.
So you're telling me Trump is at 37%.
Both guys are well underwater.
See that's what Democrats do.
I can look it up. Look it up.
Please.
It's a matter of a couple of points.
It's a matter of a couple
I will
of
summarize
points.
the country for you for the 50th time on our program.
Go ahead.
We are a 45-10 country. 45 that is locked in and will not move for Biden. 45 that is locked in and will not move for Trump. And 10% in the middle. And of those 10%, 10% of the states in the country, about 5 states, is where those people matter. That's the state of play. We can talk about who's up by 1, who's up by 2. They are both unpopular. Overwhelmingly, Americans say they don't like either one of them.
I'm waiting for you to look up Biden's approval number.
I will.
I'm
going to look up both. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Let's look up both.
Approval Biden. But the fact of the matter is, what I just described to you.
Yes.
What I just described to you is the solution to the problem of immigration, and Congress has to do it.
No, it's not. You know why not? I think the American people could get with everything you just said, except for the migrants that have come here illegally. You cannot give them a path.
You have to separate. No, they don't get a path if they can't show the things I talked about, that they're contributing to society, they're working, they're paying their taxes.
That's giving them a path.
I know, but there are a lot of people here. I've been trying to explain this to you, and you know it intuitively in your bones. We run into undocumented people all the time that are running construction shops, running newspaper stands, that are doing.
That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about people that have come over.
I understand, but you've got to separate one from the other. How do you do that? You need a law to do that.
I know you're trying to multitask, but what about those approval numbers?
All right. You want me to wait, or should we do it when we get back from the break?
I really want to hear Trump's approval
all right,
rating
hold on,
and Biden's approval rating.
Okay. All right. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Biden approval rating tracker. Last updated June 28th. Disapprove 57, approve 37. That's Biden.
So, right.
That's
okay.
Biden. All right, let's do Trump now.
Right.
So basically 37. That's
Okay.
Reuters.
Okay.
Trump approval rating. Here we go. Favorability, is that okay? So slightly different.
Okay. So what's the number?
Favorable 41.
Okay. So
unfavorable 54.
Okay. So
it's basically within 3 points. By the way, I don't even need this. I don't even need a phone or a laptop. I know stuff in my head that turns out to be right every week.
Okay. So he's still doing better than the incumbent president.
They're both underwater, I said.
Wait. All I heard was and then you went on to say they're both underwater.
They're both underwater within the margin of error.
But can you answer the question? Is Trump more popular in America than Biden?
Yes, he's got 40%, and we'll be right back.
It's the left versus the right. It's a 77 WABC debate. The melee in the metropolis. 77 WABC.
So welcome back to Left versus Right. Anthony Weiner on the left, Dominic Carter on the right. All right, so you're packing your bag. You're going to Milwaukee. I'm curious, you're looking forward to going to Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Be careful for what?
Well, I just want to say you're a nationally syndicated guy now.
Right.
So you're very well known in New York, but you're getting better known around the country. So they could be your listeners any day now. You're looking forward to going?
I am. I've covered a national political convention in Milwaukee before. I believe it was the Republicans when I went many years ago, but I don't remember. After a while, they all merged in together. Yeah. You know, I remember the first one I covered back in '88, and the Republicans were in New Orleans,
and we were in Atlanta.
And that's a good memory.
I was there.
Wow.
I was there.
Good memory.
I was a page. I was like running one of the doors, because I was working on Capitol Hill. I had the time of my life. The first one, because that was the convention. I know I interrupt you, but that was the convention that Bill Clinton gave the keynote address and went on and on and on.
Yes.
And he was roundly saying, this guy's career is over in politics. That was a terrible speech. Anyway, me being this nerd that I was, I'm watching, I'm like, this guy's amazing. I love this guy. This guy's amazing. And I saw the news coverage afterwards. I like, my instincts are not so great. But how did he recover from that? Do you remember that? How did he recover?
I don't remember.
He went on the Arsenio Hall show and played the saxophone.
That's right.
To show I'm not so tedious and boring after all.
But I'm more impressed with the fact that you remember.
Well, I was there. You always remember your first whatever. I always remember my first convention. And you were there at the time. You were
in radio. I was in radio.
Who were you working for at the time?
For WBLS and WLID.
No kidding. No kidding.
Time.
Now, I found that it used to. I found, I'm a nerd, so
and got to interview Jimmy Carter at the actual convention.
No kidding.
Yes.
No kidding. But this is the conventions have changed a lot, even in our brief lifetimes. There used to be something going on there. I don't know what's going to happen at the Republican convention.
What's going to happen. It's going to be an absolute coronation.
Yeah,
it should be.
But there's not going to be any controversy.
That means it's a good run convention.
And the right, which is
can the Democrats say that?
Well, we're going to do that next. But the right has to be a little bit upset. The pro-life guys, the language on abortion has been softened a little bit to kind of conform to what Donald Trump's been saying. Which is what? What do you think Donald Trump's position on abortion is right now?
I think it's very clear that Democrats want to talk about abortion every chance that they get. Trump has said it's a state decision. Let the states decide.
But what is his view, do you think?
I can only go by what he says as a candidate. What do you think his view is?
No, that's the point. I have no idea. He's been all over the map. Think about it. When was the last time we had a national figure in politics we didn't know where he was on abortion? I know he brags.
I think his position is very clear.
No, but his personal feeling about abortion. You have a feeling. I have a feeling. Most Americans have a feeling about abortion. He says everyone wanted Roe v. Wade thrown out, which, as you know, is crazy. People like Roe v. Wade, but now,
no, that's not necessarily true.
Roe v. Wade?
Those in the, I would say a majority of Americans,
a lot of people did
express that point of view, but that is a Democratic issue, and meaning that you Democrats think that you can ride the abortion issue all the way back to the White House, and it's not going to happen.
Are there pro-choice Republicans, you think?
Yes, there are plenty of pro-choice.
I think there are. I think there are plenty. I think that's the point I'm making, is that what Donald Trump did was unpopular because it's virtually all Democrats and a lot of Republicans are pro-choice. So he did something the American people don't like.
That's not necessarily true. He did something that Democrats don't like. But and I know,
well, there are pro-choice Republicans too. We just made that point.
Yes, but they're not a majority of the party.
No, I know, but there's some.
America, as you know, is big, and there are a lot of people that agree with Trump's position on abortion.
Which is what?
And Democrats try every single time to put him into a corner on the issue of abortion.
Do you think?
And he's smart enough not to permit it to happen.
Let me ask you. So I just think he's too clever by half, because I think most Americans don't believe the idea that when you take away constitutional rights, it's a good thing.
What's that saying again? Not clever by half? Is that
too clever? When someone being too clever by half?
Too clever by half, right? But he's leading in all the polls.
He's not only on this issue. This issue he's unpopular
he's leading. Democrats want this narrow focus on abortion.
No, it's just one of many issues.
Trump is leading in the polls.
There's a referendum on this in Kansas, of all places, that pro-choice people want. There's going to be a referendum maybe in Florida. I'm just saying that to say, well, Democrats like this issue. A lot of Republicans are pro-choice.
Okay. We could talk about this from now until the end of the RNC.
Oh, good.
But
let's just do that.
But Trump is still winning.
No, I get it. But we're now talking about the different issues in the platform. All right, you don't want to talk about that one? Let's
we can
go
talk about. Wait. Before we get to other issues in the platform, you haven't answered whether you feel that Biden is the Democrat that's going to finish this race.
Yes, I do. I thought it was 90-10. 95-5. I moved to 90-10, and I still have 90-10. And the 5% was Kamala Harris. The 10% is Kamala Harris. It's always that's the way it's going to be.
Even with the party drying up the money for him now?
He's got plenty of money. And in a way, frankly, he's got more money than anyone else would be able to have if they took over, because it's very difficult. Right. Sometimes these things are difficult. I'm not concerned about candidates' money. We hear these things, and I've used it as a talking point, how much money got raised and whatever it is. They can have plenty of money because it doesn't really matter. Most Americans, it doesn't matter how much money. You can put $2 billion of advertising on my TV screen. I'm not going to change and be a Trump voter. You're not going to be a Biden voter no matter how many ads you see. Again, it's down to that 10% of people. There's only so many ads you can buy for them. I'm sorry.
Right, but when you're in a place like Wisconsin or a battleground state, these ads sometimes can sway people.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that there's only so many you can buy. Hundreds of millions of dollars. You're running out of space. There's only so many. There's so many large yard signs you can buy. I'm not concerned about either candidate not having the money. I'm not, because Donald Trump has to raise the money because he's a felon and has a lot of convictions he has to overturn. He has a lot of legal bills to pay.
So what? So Mr. Weiner.
I'm curious. Let's talk about crime for a minute.
Okay, wait. We can go to crime.
Okay.
Wait. You just referred to Mr. Trump in a term that's not accurate. You called him a convicted felon.
He is.
Okay, wait a minute. One, he hasn't been sentenced.
That's true.
And that happens in September, if it happens at all. Now, I want you to be honest with me.
Yes.
You know what the Supreme Court ruled.
Yes.
There is no way this conviction can stand.
Tell me why.
Because, one, you used testimony in the trial with evidence that was covered under presidential immunity.
Well, no, but this
text
is
messages,
yes, but the
emails.
I know, but the crime that is alleged is clearly personal behavior. Paying off a porn star is personal behavior. It has nothing to do with his official duties.
Okay, that's what the appeal is all about.
Yeah, it's a stretch. I'm not saying it's a
stretch.
It is because the whole decision was hung on this issue of is it official business, is it official duty or not. No one would argue the underlying crime here is official duty.
So let's see if you can be straight with me here. Notice how the feds put off their trial until the Supreme Court ruled. Mm-hmm. Team Trump wanted District Attorney Alvin Bragg, Manhattan District Attorney, to do exactly the same thing. The District Attorney and the judge said, no, we have to go to
state case.
Wait, we have to go to trial now. Now, does it make sense that you've rushed through and convicted this man of nonsense and you're going to be overturned on appeal?
Look, first of all, I have said every time, I trust the system. If he gets overturned, more power to them. Then I will come on these microphones and say the system worked. The guy's not a convicted felon anymore. But this was a state case. There's never been if he went into the state court and said to all the way up to the Court of Appeals and says I'm immune, and the state court ruled on it. So there's no reason for him to hold it. And by the way, this is a thin reed. This is personal behavior. He paid off a porn star, right? He doesn't even say I didn't pay off the porn star. He just said I didn't pay her off because I slept with her. He said I paid her off. So he paid off a porn star. That is not official. You tell me how that's official activity.
He denies. I'm not going to.
No, he definitely paid it.
No, he denies sleeping with her.
No, fine. I didn't notice I left that out this week.
No, but I noticed you mentioned it.
No, I didn't say sleep with her.
Yes, you did.
I said he paid off a porn star. That we know.
And then you said that he slept with.
No, I didn't. I left that out this week because you got upset last week, so I didn't want to get into that again this week.
No.
I looked up. Do we have time? Do we have time to do Kamala Harris and Willie Brown? I looked that up.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And what did you find?
I found that Kamala Harris wasn't married, and Willie Brown had been separated from his wife for 20 years.
I told you that she wasn't married.
I know, but he'd been separated from his wife also. They were public.
Well, okay, but what about?
So what is?
But wait.
I mean, you made it so scandalous. I went and looked it up.
Scandalous.
It wasn't scandalous.
It is scandalous.
It wasn't. What was scandalous about it?
Well, that's not the only one that she's alleged to.
Okay,
that's not the only one.
I'm sorry, I opened up this can of beans. All right, go ahead.
Judge Joe Brown. You need to listen to the interview he did.
Judge Joe Brown.
Yes, Judge Joe Brown, an African American. Ooh, I want to know what the vice president did to him.
Oh, they dated.
I don't know. I don't know if they dated, but Judge Joe Brown did an interview.
Well, what does it have to do with the
declaring that she's played the race card? According to Judge Brown.
I don't know who Judge Joe Brown is. Is he a conservative guy?
No, he's a TV host, cool with Sharpton and so on. He's in those quarters.
Got it. Okay.
And he was on
and he
TV.
Doesn't like Kamala Harris. Some people aren't.
He doesn't like her
Some people
at
are going to like Kamala Harris.
But he talks about the numerous affairs that she reportedly had.
Okay.
Numerous.
This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
No, it is. You brought it up.
No, you're saying numerous affairs, but do you have any information I can work with? Any names? You're just kind of throwing it out there. It's kind of not fair.
According to him, the deputy district attorney, when she wanted to move up in the district attorney's office, there are numerous names.
Okay. Well, we don't know anything about any of these things. You don't know anything about.
Oh, right. We don't.
You're saying you heard from a guy.
Right. No. I'm saying
this is not fair.
Okay,
you heard from a guy that maybe she had an affair with him. But you mentioned the Willie Brown thing.
I said numerous affairs.
No, you didn't say that. Joe Brown said it.
Judge Brown. That's true.
Judge Brown.
That's true.
Okay. So we don't know, but I looked up the Willie Brown thing.
I do know.
Willie Brown.
Willie
Which
Brown.
part?
Go ahead.
Well, you don't know the Joe Brown thing. You just know that Joe Brown said something,
Okay,
right? You
okay,
don't know.
go
You're
ahead.
not confirming
Go
anything
ahead,
over
go
here.
ahead, go ahead.
But I did look that up, and that Willie Brown had been separated from his wife for some time. So that is not nearly as scandalous as you might.
Right. So were they separated?
So let's
wait. Were they separated when he put her on the public payroll at different jobs?
Yeah,
Were they separated at that
that part didn't happen.
Oh, that part didn't happen?
No, she ran with his support.
No,
she ran for district attorneys.
Jobs. She got her numerous
That
jobs.
part I looked up and I couldn't find any numerous jobs that she had. She ran for district attorney with his support as a political figure in San Francisco. She did do that. She ran against.
He put her on the board. He got her pay raises. He got her 6-figure salaries with no experience.
Okay,
He goes on and on.
I looked for conflicts. I looked for that. I'll look for that again. It sounds like you're doing what happens sometimes around here, where people just throw stuff out that is not.
No.
All right.
I
well,
don't
flesh it out
with
facts. What job was she given?
I don't have the exact title
All
in
right,
front of
can
me.
you get that for next week, please?
I promise you I will.
All right.
I guarantee you I will.
Because accusing a successful woman of sleeping her way to the top without having any substantiation for that is just not fair. But let's go back to the platform. You wanted to change from talking about abortion. You've succeeded. We won't do that. Let's talk about crime. What do the Republicans think we should do about crime? Crime's actually down in the country.
You really want to talk about crime?
Okay, we don't have to. We can go on another subject.
But no.
Usually when you say that, it's because you're gathering your thoughts because you know you're in trouble.
No. It's just that I like you, and you know I like you,
and that's mutual.
And if we talk about crime, it's almost like you don't have a chance in hell.
Crime is down.
Crime
is down in the country.
Crime is down. Pick a borough, any borough in New York City. Pick a state, any state, and you have these high profile incidents. Hey, but there is one thing I will say is a good thing. One thing that is a good thing as it relates to crime. We haven't had any high profile cases of migrants, at least knock on the table, migrants raping women and murdering them lately.
You know why?
So, why?
Because your heroes at Fox News and the New York Post have decided they want to focus on Biden instead, so they pivoted.
Oh, so it's not because they're not happening. I guess the one in Syracuse where that rocket scientist put the body on his shoulder and dragged the body out.
The number of illegal crossings is down dramatically. It's the lowest it's been in 3 years. So the number of illegal crossings is way the heck down. So that might have something to do with it. Listen, migrants who commit crimes should be thrown in jail. People who are not migrants who commit crime should be thrown in jail.
But why can't you just stick to migrants who commit crime?
Because
it's like insulting. I
do full thoughts. Sorry. I do full thoughts.
It's not full thoughts.
And the full thought is that everyone who commits a crime should be punished for that crime, and every victim is something that we should be sorry about. However, people talk about migrant crime as if it's bigger than non-migrant crime, and it's not. Most people committing crimes out there are people who know one another, and they're overwhelmingly white people.
But it's not a matter of one bigger than the other. The migrants are not supposed to be here.
Correct.
And that's a.
And by the way, I don't
premise.
care if someone who's supposed to be here and commits a murder. That's still bad.
Okay, I'm not going to debate that because it's really unfair to these families, from Lake and Riley to the 12-year-old in Houston, Texas, to the young lady up in Syracuse. So I'm not going to focus on it. What else?
Should there be? Donald Trump says there should be no tax on tips. That's very popular. Should there be? Maybe he should come out in favor of increasing the minimum wage. Many of these people make the minimum wage. What do you think?
Well, you already see the companies across the country that are going out of business, with many of them citing the minimum increase in the minimum wage.
Corporate profits have never been higher than they are under Joe Biden.
Okay,
You're welcome.
So what about? First of all, Democrats should not talk about the economy. What Democrats should stick to is the half issue that you have
on Friday.
Half issue that you have, and that's abortion.
On Friday,
you can't discuss anything
on Friday.
else.
The stock market hit another record high. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Wow.
Thank you, Joe. Oh, maybe those numbers are fake, Dominic. Maybe they faked the numbers.
No, but Americans know what time it is. That's why a change is coming, and there's nothing that you or the Democrats can do about it.
Hey, listen, come back from Milwaukee safe. Tell all your Republican friends Anthony Weiner says hello. See the look on their face. It's left versus right. Dominic Carter and Anthony Weiner. Take it away, Vinny Medugno.
Vinny!
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.